All right, we are now recording. Okay, so thank you, Keith, for stopping in. Today, in this recording, I have the approval by Keith to share with you how to create your own master AutoCAD file. So this is, all of a sudden you've got a new client, you're ready to start a new project in AutoCAD. You don't have to create all that stuff again. You want all your templates in there already. You want all your blocks in there. You want all your dimension styles, all your text styles, all the stuff you're going to use for every single project. You open up this master template file, and then you go ahead and start the next project you're working on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a brand new file as well from scratch. We're going to go right back to CAD fundamentals here and create a brand new template file from AutoCAD, because I don't know what all of you may have out there. I don't know a specific file that every single one of you may have, because I may not just have interior decorators listening to this. I may also have architectural technologists, and I may also have some civil technologists listening to this as well. So I'm kind of trying to cover like all programs. So you may have all different files. You will all have different files out there. So I'm just going to create an Imperial base file. Now, again, because I have different trades out there, I'm going to be creating an Imperial template here. So this is more for my interior decorators, and that's because that's who's asking. So, but if you are from a trade who's listening to this recording that would work dominantly in metric, please be sure you're choosing a metric template instead. All right, so you're going to click on the A at the top, back to basics. So click File at the top and File New. We're going to create a brand new drawing. And once again, back to basics here. So the two main templates we use are AutoCAD.dwt for template, drawing template, and that Imperial, and AutoCAD ISO is metric. So the best way I remember this myself is the ISO acronym there for isometric. And that reminds me that's for a metric file. So I'm going to use the AutoCAD template file, again, for Imperial. So I'm going to click on AutoCAD and click Open. Brand new file. Brand new file. So right away before I start anything, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back into the file. Whoopsie, not a line. Yep, File, Save As. And I'm going to save this somewhere. Save, so that way anything I click, Control S from here on out, I know for a fact I'm saving into the file I want to save. So of course, you navigate yourself in your own folders here. I'm going to just call this master template is literally what I'm going to call this. A master template. Now, files of type. Now, I'm going to just talk about this here just quickly because I know a lot of you need the drawings to be saved back in previous years. You can actually set this permanently up in your AutoCAD to always save to a certain year, and that's what I do personally. I save all my AutoCAD drawings I save back to 2007. The latest I can save my drawings to, and that's so I can make sure that anybody and everybody can open my files if needed. And that's just because it's from a teaching standpoint as a teacher. I need to make sure all my students can open up my files. So you may not want to go this far back, but you can go 2013. That's usually where a lot of people like to save their files, is 2013. And that way they can make sure that anybody that has an AutoCAD older version that may not have updated it can open the file. Also, too, you have no idea where you might take your file. You may go to a different firm or something like that, hopefully post-COVID. You may go to a different firm and you may open your file somewhere else. And so you have no idea maybe what AutoCAD version they may have there at that firm. So it's kind of always a good idea to just save your file back to a previous date, a year. You'll never have any issues opening it up in a new version of AutoCAD. It's the other way around. So if you have an older file, you can open it up in any newer yeared version of AutoCAD. But if you have a new year file, so if I make a 2020 year file, I cannot open it up in 2019 AutoCAD, 2018, any year prior. I cannot open that file up. So it's always a good idea to work your way back. All right. Save. Okay, so just to finish up that topic there, to have your file always saved to a certain year, you're going to open up your settings. And the reason why I'm talking about this too is because you want your master template to be saved in an older year file. That's why I'm talking about this. So under Open and Save, I believe, yep, Open and Save, the third tab over, Open and Save. Under the first drop-down bar, Save As, that's where you can choose what year you'd like AutoCAD to save it to. So you can actually go even older than 2007. I just realized that, but I'm going to stay at 2007. If you scroll down, you'll see 2013, but you have to make sure you choose DWG. So be careful here. Don't just look at the year. You have to look at the file extension. You do not want to save your files to DXFs. Okay, that's a different drawing file. You want to make sure that you are saving to DWG. So you'll have to scroll up to find the 2013 DWG. So just be careful All right, be careful, be careful, be careful that you are making sure that you are saving this as a DWG file. All right, very important. And then when you make that change, you can go ahead and click apply and OK. Settings will complete. Okay, so a lot of this, honestly, is going to be opening up your previous files and copy paste. Honestly, it's going to be as simple as that. It's going to be a matter of just finding all of your files and making sure that you copy paste everything in here. But what I suggest first, of course, is we need to set up our units. We've created a template, yes, but we haven't told AutoCAD anything else but that. We have to still set up our units. So I'm going to type in UN enter. Whoopsie. Nope, not N enter. A UN enter for units. There we go. And again, I'm in architectural files, or sorry, imperial files, so therefore my type needs to be architectural. So if you ended up creating a metric file, and you of course would keep this to decimal, and you would pick your decimal point precision. But we are in imperial here in this example, so I'm going to keep it 1/16 of an inch. You know, you could go even more than that if you'd like. It depends on what you typically dimension to. In terms of architecture myself, I typically dimension to 1/16 of an inch because none of my trades are going to measure to a 32nd of an inch. I'm a more exterior architecture myself, right? So there's no way one of my trades, again, are going to measure to the 32nd of an inch. They'll laugh at me if I put it that kind of dimension on my drawings. Interior decorators and interior designers and stylists, that's a different story. You know, you're doing a lot of interior millwork. You're doing a lot of, you know, detailed, smaller stuff. So you're going to want to, you know, maybe widen up that precision. So maybe go something even smaller than, you know, 1/32, maybe even 1/64. I've had. I'm pretty sure the designer I worked for, she liked 1/64. I'm pretty sure. So, you know, this is up to you. What do you usually dimension to? You can change this at any time too. So, you know, you're not held to this. Now, the main, of course, most important thing is to make sure your insertion scale is correct. So in imperial, we keep this always at inches. And in metric, you keep this always in millimeters. All right, I'm going to click OK. Now, because this is a template file, I am not going to set up limits. Usually with file setup, we go units and then we go limits. Well, no, I do not want to set up any limits in this file because, again, this is my template file. I want to be able to load and pack all sorts of stuff in here. So I don't care about limits, so I'm not going to specify limits. So first things now, well, sorry, next step really is to open up your other files. So things are going to be a little bit different for me here, obviously, than you personally at your home computer. But you're going to basically open up the files where you're going to grab your template information from. So this could be, you know, project 1 because you like those dimensions used in there. It could be, you know, that CTB file because you like the textile Tomic got you to use here. Or, you know, you like this bathtub and this sink block, and so you're going to use that. Now, what I typically do is I actually have my toolbar set up here in my AutoCAD, and I have my blocks actually permanently set up in the toolbar here, which I can show you later. Now, again, this recording is to cover a master file, so I'm going to put all those blocks into the file instead. So I'm going to just file open, use the open folder here, and I'm going to just open up a bunch of different files here. Now, I have an actual template file already built for one of my other classes, so I'm going to open up that. It's just you're not going to recognize it very much, and it's also in metric sizing, so it's going to look really weird in this file, but that's okay. The idea will still be there. Where's my template there? So this is the template I created for my architecture students this semester because they were building a lot of files and I didn't want them to have to hand draw all this stuff by themselves because they're building like huge floor plans and huge wall sections and huge cross sections. So we're talking huge house drawings here, not just rooms, right? So totally different trade, right? Not over talking or under talking either of them. It's just totally different trades, right, in terms of the information you need. So that's why I gave this information to them. So you can use this as an example of how to build your master template. So what I did is I basically just drew boxes around them and I gave myself little headers. So this is all my windows that I typically used in the file. These are all the doors that I typically use. These are all my appliances and fixtures that I typically use. And then I labeled all the hatching that they also needed and gave them little boxes and hatching boxes. So that way they could just match properties and use the hatching here. And again, it's because they're building huge files, and I needed to assist them in terms of building the files, and this is the first time they're using AutoCAD as well, so it's to help them out there. What I also did is did annotation. So they had to print their drawings at different scales in metric, and so what I did is I did the different view title scales for them, and the room number, lintel number, door numbers, and all the tags and all the joist information as well. So this is a way that you can lay out the stuff. It's just a suggestion. But how do you get this into your master template you just created? Well, I'm going to select everything. So Control A, or for my Apple users out there, you're going to use Command A. This selects all. So this may not be what you want to do. You may want to just select some things. So let's say, for instance, I just want to select my appliances and fixtures here. Well, then I just use a nice blue box around that item. Okay. So whatever file you've got open, because you're grabbing information from it, go ahead and select the information that you want to copy over. So for me personally, I'm going to copy over everything but my stuff in the middle there. So once you have everything selected, same shortcut basically with the keyboard here, select all. You're just going to use Control C for copy instead. So Control C, or Command C for my Apple users out there. And in your command line, you'll notice a copy clip has happened. I'll circle it with my mouse here at the bottom. A copy clip has happened, and it'll tell you the number of items. Well, here you're going to toggle back to your master template file, and you're going to paste. Well, it's the command keyboard shortcut, Control V for paste. Okay, now again, my stuff is going to be absolutely ginormous because I'm putting metric stuff into an imperial template. So mine is going to be absolutely ginormous because my units are so wrong, but it's okay. You get the idea. Please don't do this. You want to be copying, imperial stuff into an imperial file, because what I've done here, I have to scale all this stuff, and that's terrible. I can show you how to do that, but yeah, I've got to do that. Okay, so Control V to paste, Control C to copy. I can't, if I type in the chat right now, it'll be, I mean, can help you out, Keith, but you can't access the chat, unfortunately, in the recording the way I upload them now. But at least put them in there for you. Control V, C first is copy, and Control V is paste. And Control A is select all. There we go. And that works with AutoCAD, which is so, so, so lovely. And so that way now I've got all of my stuff ready to go. Now, again, you may want to box your stuff in just like I've done here. You may want to give it headers and titles, and so you understand what this is. Now, again, me personally, this is my own template. I wouldn't have all of these labeled. I know what they are, but I have them labeled right now for the sake of communication to my students, because this is a template to students. Okay, so and they were, again, drawing AutoCAD for the first time, so I needed to make sure they understood what everything looks like in plan. Same with the doors. Maybe you want to just put the dimension sizes. You may understand what's an interior, what's a washer, and what's an exterior door, that kind of thing. Hatching, I suggest, label it if you'd like. Again, you may not need to label it. Okay, so I'm going to open up another file now. So I'm done with this file. I don't want anything else from it, so I'm going to close it and not save it. I don't need anything else from it. This is my master template, and I'm going to save, because I want to save what I have so far in my master template. I'm going to open up now a new file. I'm going to open up a proper imperial file now myself. Sorry for my allergies here. I have winter allergies, so you'll have to listen to me clear my throat. I'm so sorry. Let's see here. Where do I have imperial? Yeah, I do a lot of metric stuff for my CAD stuff because they are usually in metric. Yes, this is imperial. Wonderful. So I'm opening now a file that I like my dimensions. So I found a file in my personal files here. So this is what I suggest you do. And I found a file where I like my dimensions I set up, I like the notes I set up, and I like the text I set up. Now this could be in 3 different files for you. You may have one file where you like those dimensions, you may have another file where you like those notes, right? So regardless of what you got to do, get the files open. Okay, so this is my file that I like. And again, it's because I like this multi-leader style. I don't want to have to create this multi-leader style again. I like this dimension style. and I like this text style. So I'm going to, again, select these things in model space, use the same keyboard shortcuts of Control-C. I get that lovely copy clip here at the bottom. I'm going to go back to my master template, and I'm going to Control-V to paste. Now this stuff is going to be super small because it's going to be proper imperial sizing now. And I've now pasted that information in here. So I'm going to now open up my dimension styles, DST. I wish I did this before I copied and pasted just to show you that, you know, what I had in here beforehand. So these dim 10, dim 25, dim 5, dim 50, that's all stuff that I had from my metric copy paste from before. Dimensions, this little guy here, this is my imperial. This is the one that's just below here, this one right here. So that just shows you that with when you copy paste it into model space, it copy pastes all the properties. So you get your whole dimension styles as well. It's so cool. And also if I open up ST Enter for style, I can now get all my text styles. I just copied and pasted these in here. And now I get all my text styles. They're all right there. There's my labels, the one I like for here. And there's all my metric stuff, which again, I need to scale up, which I can show you. And then if I go even further into my multi-leader styles, whoopsie, which I absolutely hate the command for, so I always use the drop-down bar up here. Just in case none of you know this, you can get your text styles, your dimension styles, and your multi-leader styles, and your table styles, all here in this annotation drop-down bar in the top here. Nice quick way to do that. So there's my multi-leader styles, and there we go. There's my notes, and that's this multi-leader style right here. Now, of course, everybody, I want to also, you know, talk about copyright here because I'm telling you to copy paste. You have to make sure that you're copying and pasting stuff that you are allowed to use. So I need to be very clear here. Please only make sure that you're using stuff in your master template that you have created or that you have the approval from the person who has created that. So let's say you want to use something from Tomic's file, you need to make sure you email Tomic and ask him. All right? Now the stuff that I'm showing you on my screen, I have personally created myself. Okay, so that's why I'm able to copy and paste it and use it into my master template. Now this is a matter of plagiarism. We have to make sure that you do not plagiarize other people's work. Just because this is an AutoCAD, same rules apply. You have to make sure you're only using your material. Okay, same rules apply as writing an essay from somebody else or taking somebody else's magazine spread or design. Same rules apply here. There's laws against it. Don't do it. Draw your stuff. Be proud about your work. That's what it comes down to, is being proud about your work. All right? So this is our notes. I'm good there. Now, what also copied and pasted are all the layers. This could be a pro, and this could also be a con. All right, so keep this in mind. Whatever you copy paste in your file as well, the layers also come with it. So now I look at my file and I go, well, I've got 2 layers now for dimensions because of what I've copied and pasted in my file. I've got cleanup to do. Or you get more careful of what you copy paste in your file, which is what I would have done. I wouldn't have copied and pasted that metric stuff. I would have only copy pasted imperial stuff. And it's just because I'm trying to get more information to copy paste in my file for the sake of the recording. All right, so this is something to be careful of because I can't just go ahead and delete layers. It's going to tell me, hold on, no, there's many reasons why you can't delete this layer, right? So you've got to be careful. I've got to go back now, clean up, and I've got to make sure that I've put all of my other dimension stuff on this layer because this is the layer I want. So that match properties command is really going to come into play here. So once you have all your stuff into your file, I think that's pretty much all I can think of. There, you know, bathroom blocks, kitchen blocks, laundry blocks, you know, any sort of furniture blocks you'd use. It could be an entertainment unit, a fireplace, like that's literally what I have on my toolbars on the side of my, again, I don't use AutoCAD for a day-to-day basis. I use another CAD software called Brisk CAD, and it's just because it's more economical. I work for a very small firm. It's just my boss and I. And so AutoCAD is just so expensive. He has AutoCAD, and so we save money and I get BriskCAD. And so it's literally a direct duplicate of AutoCAD. It's just literally more economical because it's European rather than North American. And they're able to cut the cost on some things. And it's literally a direct program. I have no problems with switching back and forth with those two programs. So it's really a direct opposite or direct duplicate, which is great. And I know that you can have your blocks off to the side here because I've seen multiple of your CAD screens by now, and many of you have got blocks here on a toolbar off to the side. So I'm thinking you've all been shown that, which is awesome. So it's super handy to have. So you want to add in any blocks now that you have off to the side into this file as well. Okay, so my next thing I want to show you here is quickly how to scale some stuff. Now, I know I have a separate whole recording on scale, but I'm just going to repeat it here quickly because I have imported metric stuff in an imperial file. And I want to make a point of, if you do this, you've got to make sure you scale it to the proper size. This isn't okay to use. It's too big. It's literally unusable. We want to draw all our files one-to-one. And if I go ahead and measure out this sink, which a double sink typically is about, anywhere in between 36 to 48 inches wide, depending on, if you have a full double, if you have a mini double, right? If you have a one side sink smaller. It's telling me my sink right now is almost 80 feet, which is obviously not correct, right? So I just want to make a point here. When you put metric stuff into a imperial file, it'll be way too big. So I'm going to quickly scale all this stuff to proper size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick something that I know I can get a direct conversion to snap to, because I need something that I can snap a measurement to. So because I know this window is supposed to be 1,575 millimeters, I'm going to quickly do the conversion of what it needs to be in metric or imperial. So 1575 millimeters. So therefore it's supposed to be 62 inches. Wonderful. Nice round number, 62 inches. So that's going to be my magical number, 62 inches. So I'm literally making a point here. Grabbing a pen, and I'm writing down 62 inches because you want to be doing the same. All right. So now I'm going to start the zoom out to where I can see all of my information here. I have to be careful of my imperial information here. So I'm going to draw a box around that quickly just to make sure I don't forget about that stuff. All right, so before I go ahead and start the scale command here, I'm going to make sure, I'm zoomed out and I can see all of the information I want to scale first. Then I'm going to start the command, SC enter, SC enter. And now I'm going to go ahead and select everything I want to scale when I want to scale all of this information. Now, I didn't use one giant blue box because I don't want to select this stuff. Because of where it's located, I was able to do one blue box here and, one here. Can't do a green one. Don't want to touch it, right? So just be careful with your selection here. Once you select all your objects, you're going to press enter. Now, your base point. This is very important. The base point you want to pick is the base point of the object you want to measure. The object you did measure. So that window beforehand, that 1575 millimeter window that we figured out is 62 inches. I'm going to zoom into it. I'm going to choose the top left corner of my base point. And right away you see scale activate. Well, this is very frustrating, right? Because we don't want scale to activate right now. I need a reference point. I don't want to scale based on factor here. I don't want to figure out the factors. No, I want to scale based on size. So I'm going to type in R enter right now because at my command line, I have a reference option. This is the most important step of scale. Once I have after I pick my base point, I get my reference option. I type in R enter for reference. Now my command line has changed to specify reference length. Reference length means existing length. So that's that 1575. I want to start the first corner here on the left, click, and I want to tell AutoCAD what's my existing length. So I want to end with the other side, click. And now you'll see we're scaling with the object. I get to pick a new size, and that's exactly what your command line is now asking. What is your new length? Well, our new length is that 62 inches that we discovered, because I'm trying to make this stuff from metric size scale down to imperial. So I'm making this its real size, which means in relativity, everything else will be its real size. So I'm going to type in my magical number here of 62 inches because this 1575 needs to be 62 because I'm now in an imperial file. So what that 1575 literally is saying is 1,575 inches. I don't want that. This is going to be 62 inches. So 62, enter. Now, those dimensions are going to go crazy because they were sized for metric. I don't want them anyway. I want my imperial dimensions that I put off to the side over here. Now they're all moving over here. So now you can see the scale of my objects is more proportionate now between what I drew in imperial versus what I had copied in metric. And I'm going to erase these dimensions. They're useless now. I can match properties really. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to delete them. Excuse me. I'm going to make a point here and match properties. This is great. All right, I'm going to match properties to this dimension string. MA, enter. And I'm going to select this dimension string with my match properties. I now get my paintbrush. I'm going to pan over to this information, and I'm going to match properties. So I'm going to say, you're going to match that. You're going to match that. I'm grabbing the dimension strings, and check it out. Just like that, now these dimension strings matched just from match properties, and I don't think I had any other dimension strings anywhere. No. So let's measure something else and see if it worked. So what's a 1,000 millimeter door? Because obviously this is incorrect now. This is not in metric, right? So I don't want this to say 1,000 millimeters. So again, let's see what that means. Well, it needs to be around 39 inches, which is just over 3 feet. So be about 3'3". DIST, DI for short. 3'3" and 3/8. Perfect. Absolutely bang on. So I'm going to just, edit this to make a point. And this is now 3'3" door. No, 3'3". I'm just going to say that. Okay. And then I would do the same with all my other ones because I would want to edit those texts. But just to make a point here, let's double check now our kitchen sink. This said it was 72 feet before. Let's see how wide it is now. Beauty. Almost just over 3'1". Almost 3'2". Beauty. Typical size, beautiful. So just keep that in mind. If you have something that's in metric, don't worry. You can still put your new imperial file. Just use that scale command, and be sure with that scale command you get that reference point. That is the magical step, because that reference point allows you to scale on size. Figuring out scale factors, yes, you can do it. Absolutely, there's mathematical equations out there, but why cause more confusion for yourself and more work for yourself when you can use this command in a different way? We know size, and we know what size we want it to be. So we can use scale based on size. So I'm now going to just move the other information over here, down, because I want to keep my stuff aligned with each other. So I'm going to move this stuff here down to this stuff. Lovely. This text is too big because of what I had it in metric, right? So this is obviously the text I would rather. This is where I go match properties, but maybe I want these to stay big so that way I can read them better. This is my template information. My drawings are going to be different. I'll use what I want for my drawings, but maybe I want these headings here to be larger so I can read them better, right? This would be the text I want to use in my drawings. Maybe. Depends on what you're drawing. So now I'm just going to add another box quickly around this information. And I'm going to say, copy this maybe, and this is my annotation as well. And there we go. And so I'm going to save quickly to make sure I've got all that information in. The files that I previously collected all the information from, I don't need them now. So I can go ahead and close those. I don't need them, don't need to save them. And that's pretty much it. So, I mean, I can keep on opening up other files and keep copying and pasting it, but that's pretty much it. Copying and pasting stuff from your other files allows you to, get the layers, like I said, get all this fun stuff. So now that I've deleted the other dimensions, I may be allowed now to, remove that other layer, or maybe I actually won't because it's somewhere else. But you have to be sure, if you want to clean up the layers, you would want to basically grab a layer that you want. So let's say I only want dimensions. Let's say I don't want A-dim, or the other way around. Let's say I don't want dimensions, I want A-dim. which means I'm going to find an object that is on A-dim. I'm going to match properties with that object. Actually, no, there's a quicker way to do this. Sorry, quicker way to do this. You're going to use quick select to figure out what's on that other layer. Let's say I have no idea what could be on A-dim, and I want to put what's on that layer. Sorry, the other way around. My goodness, Jamie. I want to put everything that's on the dimensions layer onto A-dim, and I don't know what could be on the dimensions layer. So open up your properties with MO enter. So properties, MO enter. Sorry, I need to help my dog for a second. You really want tapping? What's that? Yeah? There you go. Okay. All right. So once you get your properties open, top left corner is quick select. This is also a command. The command itself is Q select. I'll put that in the chat. Q select. So I'm going to click that. You're going to get a quick select dialog box. Now here quickly you want to select, want to make sure that this applies to your entire drawing. Because again, we have this template file and I want to select everything that's on the dimensions layer and put it on the other layer I want. So I want this to apply to my entire drawing. Same with object type. I want to select multiple objects here. I want to figure out everything that's on that layer. So what I'm going to specify by is layer. Because again, I want to figure out everything that's on that layer. So then on value, down here, you're going to choose the layer you want to select. So what's the layer you want to change? Then I press OK. And immediately, just like that, everything that is on that layer is selected. So now I can go ahead in my layer drop-down bar up here and put it on the layer I'd rather it have. And now just like that, all of those items, I can double check my properties are now on A-dim, which is the layer I want them to be on. So now I can go into my layer properties and try and delete the layer. Now, sometimes this isn't successful regardless. Yeah. Still won't let me delete it. So let me try and save. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you just need to save your file first. You could do this for days. You could make sure you literally have everything and everything and anything taken off this layer, and it still won't let you delete it. Then you could have somebody else open the file and try and delete it, and they'll be able to delete the layer. I've literally had it happen to me with students. It's hilarious. So I'm going to try and close the file now, and I'm going to reopen it and see if that works. And this just is AutoCAD and attitude. So sometimes people will literally have layers in their files that they have had forever, and it's just because they can never delete them. Oh, see, there you go. Now let me delete it. Amazing. I'm so glad that happened and I'm recording, so I don't sound crazy. So sometimes that's all you got to do. You just got to save and close the file, reopen it, and like AutoCAD, or you can do regen, like a refresh button, regen, R-E enter for regen. That might work too. And that way it kind of, refreshes AutoCAD. It realizes, okay, there's absolutely nothing on that layer. I can delete it. So I'm just going to try that out again. So you'll see here I have A-text, and I also have a text layer. So I want to keep A-text. I do not want the text layer. So I'm going to do the same steps. In my properties, I'm going to open up Q select. I want it to apply my entire drawing, and I want multiple objects. So we're going to specify by layer. Weird how AutoCAD is like listening. That's creepy. I didn't select that beforehand, and it's already selected here. That's so creepy. Anyway, so you're going to select text here. Oh, I know why. It's because the layer I previously selected was dimensions, and it was below. Phew, I was like, that's so creepy. Anyway, so text, okay. And now all my text will be selected on that layer, and I'm going to now select my layer drop-down bar at the top and put it onto A-text instead. And now I can confirm in my properties that it is on A-text. I'm going to save. I'm going to open up my layer properties, and I'm going to try and delete this layer. And it let me delete it this time. Wonderful. So again, it doesn't always give you that issue. Sometimes it works automatically and allows you to delete the layer, which is great. All right, everything else that I have there I would like to keep. I don't want to delete any of those layers. I'm going to save my file because I'm happy with those changes. Dimension styles and text styles, you can do the exact same scenario. So let's say you want to clean up your dimension styles and text styles and they're in the file, you can delete them as well. but you have to do the same scenario. You have to make sure that there's nothing on that text style or dimension style, or else it will also, I don't think it'll either allow you to delete it, or it'll change stuff on you. So that's what I'm going to wrap up with here is I'm going to quickly open my text styles, figure out what I don't want to keep, and I'm going to show you how to delete one. Okay, so I don't want to keep my room names times 50 text style. I'm going to delete that one. So same steps here. Just Q select is going to be a little bit different, and that's why I want to show this. So same steps in terms of Q select. I'm going to pick Q select. Again, I want it to apply to my entire drawing. But in terms of object type here, we're talking text. There won't be multiple objects that have different texts. Text is just text. So under multiple object type, you want to choose text. Now, it may have to be twice with M text. There's no way you can choose multiple there because here we can't specify by text style. So yeah, you've got to choose either M text or text. I'm going to try both. So I'm going to do text. And then here under properties, you can specify by style. Then under value, guess what? We now have all of our styles listed for us instead of the layers. And this is the other way that you can use QSelect. It's not just for layers. You can use, quickly select something based on style, based on material, based on color, based on layer type, line type. It's pretty cool. So I'm now going to choose room names times 50 because that's the one I don't want to keep anymore. So I want to select all of this stuff so I can put it on a text style I want to keep. All right, I'm going to click OK. So now it's going to select all of my room names times 50, and it looks like I don't have any. Looks like I don't even have any. Why did it even get copied into my file? Good question. I'm going to zoom out and see if there's anything selected. Nope. It tells me actually my command line 0 selected. Note to self. Okay, so you can always check your command line to double check you're not going crazy. So it does have nothing selected. Okay, so I'm going to go back up into my text styles. And I'm going to try and delete it. Styles in use cannot be deleted. How rude, because it's not in use. Guess what? I have no items on there. So welcome to AutoCAD and its attitude problems. That's just what it has sometimes. And again, text styles and dimension styles are a lot harder to delete than layers. So I'm not surprised that this is happening, and I'm actually really happy it's happening on the recording, so you can understand that this is just not an easy thing to do. It's just better to just keep them there, just ignore them. So I'm going to close it again just to see if this helps. Okay, I'm going to open up my text styles again and see if I can delete it this time around. No. All right, no problem. So what I also tell people to do if you cannot delete it and it just drives you crazy that it's here, what you can do is rename it. So I just click on it again. So you select it once, and then you click on it again, and you can rename it, and you can literally call it do not use. Seriously. So that way, if this happens and you cannot delete this text style for whatever reason, name it something that you know you're not going to use. So that way, when you go to pick your text style, you know not to pick this one. Because I get it. If I can't delete something and I want to delete it, like I'm in power here, AutoCAD, why can't I delete this? That's my solution. Just rename it, call it do not use, so you know not to use it. Okay, let's see if it'll allow me to delete something else. Okay, so I'm going to go QSelect again. I'm going to go M text this time. Style, room names times 50. Oh, do not use. That's right, because I renamed it. Okay, that's why. So that's why. So because I chose text instead of M text for multi-line text, so that's what it was telling me. It told me that I had no single line text in room names times 50, but I had multi-line text in room names times 50, the text style. That's why I keep saying that. It's the name of the text style. So now I was able to select all of them, which is why it wouldn't let me delete it. That makes sense. Now I want to put it on a different text style. Well, I'm going to use my properties. So in my properties here under text, I'm going to go into the style category. If I click on do not use over here, I get a drop-down bar. And I get to put this on anything I want. It's pretty cool. So I'm now going to put it on the labels. That's what I want them to be on, is labels. I've now changed their text style. Now let's go back up into my styles. Let's see if I can delete it now. Why is delete not even coming up here? Right click. Interesting. Cancel. Do I have something selected? Escape. No. RE enter. Regen. Okay, let's try it again. Strange how it won't even let me delete it now. Ah, it's because it's my current text style. That's why. All right, so you're going to make something else your current text style. Now you can try and delete it. There we go. So now it's going to confirm delete text style, do not use. Okay, and now, wonderful, it lets me delete it. So that was because, again, strictly within the QSelect, I was specifying under text only, which means single line text, and AutoCAD wasn't wrong. I didn't have a single thing in the file on single line text on that text style. What I did have was multi-line text on that text style. So I had to redo QSelect to specify under multi-line text. Then I was able to change them and delete it. So I'm going to do that one more time now that I know that step a little bit better. And what I want to delete now, what's on this? Yeah, my L-1. I want to delete that. All right, so QSelect. Let's figure out if there's anything on this text style first. Apply to your entire drawing. Object type, I'm going to choose M text this time. Properties, style. And then under value, choose the text style you no longer want. I'm going to click OK. And there we go. There's the one and only thing that is on that text style. So now in my properties, I'm going to zoom into it so I can see it, and I'm going to put it on a different text style. All right, I want it on note times 5 instead. Wonderful, I've now changed it. That was the only thing that was on that text style. And now if I go into my text styles itself, I'm going to select that, delete it, and clean that up. Okay, last thing is dimensions. What do you do with all of a sudden you have a dimension style you want to get rid of? Well, I'm going to show you that too. So I want to keep, I just want to clarify here, I'm going to keep my dimension styles dimensions, and I'm going to get rid of, that's the same thing, I already matched the properties, that's right. Okay, so let's see here, DMST. Let's see here. Okay, so I know I want to keep this one. Let's see if there's anything on this one. It'll tell me. This one you got to right click, then you can delete it. Okay, you're not going to see a delete option here, which is why I wanted to show you this. You got to right click them and then choose delete. Sure, not going to allow me to delete it right away. So this came into my file because it was based on the layer. So I had an item that was attached to this dimension style on the layer. And that's why all of a sudden I have no objects in my file on this dimension style, and that's why I can delete it. Okay, so that might happen to you too. I'm going to try the next one. Right click, delete. Wonderful. Right click, delete. Wonderful. Right click, delete. Wonderful. I'm going to show you what happens. This is not my current text style, sorry, dimension style. You'll see there at the top, and yet I cannot delete it. That's strictly because I have dimensions on that dimension style. So that's the difference there between text styles, deleting them, and dimension styles and deleting them. When you have something on a text style, it will not let you delete it. It just gets you an error. You can try, it won't let you. Dimension styles, that option is completely grayed out. You don't even have the option of trying. So that's when you know what's on a dimension style and what's not on a dimension style. So if you have the option to delete a dimension style, that's telling you there's nothing on that dimension style. Okay, just as a note to self. So there we go. I've now cleaned up my dimension styles. I only have the dimension style I want, so I'm happy. I'm going to close. And that way that is now cleaned up. So my text styles are now cleaned up. I could even delete more really in here. You know, I wouldn't want all of these. Most of these are based on metric. So I would really want to clean these up. But I'm not going to repeat myself a million times. You get it now. I've done it 3 times now with text, so I think you get it. The main thing to remember with QSelect and selecting your text is that it could be under M text or it could be under text. And again, that's because this is M text is multi-line text, text is single line text, and I don't know what you may have used. So just keep that in mind. Although it may not select it by using text, try the QSelect again, but using M text this time, and you might select your objects that time. And this is just talking about text, okay? But other than that, that's pretty much it. Other than paper space. So this is basically what we would want to keep, in our model space by, on a regular basis. So my phone rings. I've got a new client that wants me to meet on site. I go on site, I measure the house, I come back to my office, and I start off with this template. And that way I'm going to, change my layer to A-exterior walls, and I'm going to go ahead and start drawing my new project. Just, off to the side here, away from my template information. What I tend to do is I will literally select all of my template information. I will move it all the way down into 0, 0 here. And that way I'll start drawing my new project like here. Close to my template information, but away from my template information as well. So when I start setting up paper space and all that jazz, my template information doesn't get in the way. It just stays in the bottom corner. And that's what I suggest you do. Okay, so for paper space, you cannot copy layouts into file. Okay, you cannot copy layouts from file to file. But what you can do is copy title blocks. Same steps, same exact steps. All right, so to show you this step, I've got to open up another file, and you would have to do the same. So you're going to want to open up a file where you have your created title block, and you're copying in your title block. All right, so I think I have from the drop-in support in the summer. I swear I had a imperial title block in here. But anyway, no, I'm going to use my own just to make a point. Do I have one here? No. I only have metric. No, I can use mine from work. I will use my own from work. Never mind. I can definitely do that. No, you know what? I'm going to use a metric one on purpose to show you how to scale it to fit your paper space. That's what I'm going to do instead. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I'm selecting my file now to open. So I have my title block in a separate file. All right. So here's my title block that I want to copy in. Now it's metric D size, so this is going to be way too big for what I need, but I'm going to show you how to scale it when you copy it into your file. So this is my template information. I'm ready to go. What I suggest you do, in fact, is actually copy paste your title block into model space first. So the block goes into your file. You don't have to go inserting it every time. It'll already be here. So I'm going to go back to my title block information. I'm going to Control A to select all. I'm going to go into my master template, model space, Control V to paste. Hey, and I didn't copy. I just selected everything. That's why. My bad. Control A, Control C to copy. There we go. Back to master template, Control V to paste. There we go. And there's my title block. So I'm going to paste that off to the side. Now it's going to ask me all my attribute questions, right? Because I have attributes set up in this title block. But here I don't want to actually answer these questions because I'm not on paper space. So I'm just going to press cancel. Oh, no, wait, that cancels your insertion. So sorry. I'm going to press Control V to paste again. I'm going to place it, and I'm just going to press OK. Sorry. So sorry. So you can just go ahead and Control V again. You have it. It's like a copy clipboard, right? It's on your clipboard, so you can paste it again. Okay, so that's just having it in model space, right? All right, cool. Well, I need to scale this first. This is definitely not the size I want it to be. If I measure it out, it's huge. Absolutely huge, right? Absolutely huge. But this is a block. I don't want to edit I can edit this as the block itself, okay? Because this is all, exploded. But if I edit this the way it goes, I have to resave the block. Okay, so if I want this to stay totally good the way I want it to go, always, I have to edit it here right now and rewrite the block as my new sized block. So that's what I'm going to do. So I copied it into my file. Now I'm going to resize it. So to resize it, I'm going to draw a new rectangle, RECT, bottom corner here. I'm going to go de-enter for dimensions, and I want this to be an 11 by 17 title block. So my length is going to be 17 inches, and my length is going to be 11. And this rectangle is going to be so small. There it is, all the way down here. All right. Now, I'm just trying to think, maybe we should just do this in paper space. Because then the scale won't be so bad. Scale in model space is so terrible. Yeah, let's resave this in paper space. You know, I'm going to delete this, sorry. I'm going to back up here, and I'm just thinking it's going to cause us more problems in the future. So let's leave it in model space like it is. We're going to go to paper space. Let's say we're done our drawing. We're ready to set up the file. How do I have two on top of each other? Weird. I just typed in regen, and I have a double little title block. That is so odd. Okay, I will erase both. I've never seen that happen before, and I will just Control V to paste in one. Again, I pressed escape. Sorry, everybody. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyway, moving on. Layout. Perfect. We're going to erase the viewport we see because I have no idea what size piece of paper this is, so we're going to set up our piece of paper first. Yellow T. Okay, DWG to PDF always. We're going to change our paper size to 11 by 17. I like the expands. Layout always 0 offset, 1 to 1 in inches. Always, always, always. This doesn't really change unless you're printing in model space, then this would change, but we're printing in paper space. You always want layout. Unless you have a plot style table, you can copy and paste the plot style table as well into the file as well. You can import it, really. I'm just going to use monochrome, but you would import your plot style table. So if you have your own plot style table, you can go ahead and import it. And I click apply to layout, but I just choose the X in the top corner. That's it, because I'm just setting my paper size right now. I have no drawing on here. All right, so I'm going to save. I'm going to close my other file I have open here. I don't need this open anymore. Now, because I've already inserted the title block into model space, if I just go enter for my insert box, under recent, current drawing, your title block will be listed here. You'll be able to find your title block. I'm just waiting for mine to load. Please load. We don't have all day. Okay, so if I don't know what it's called, no problem. We can solve that problem. So I'm going to go back to model space here. I'm going to select my title block. Because it's exploded, it's not a block anymore. That's not going to work. Darn. Okay, my plan of having it in model space is not going to work because it's exploded it with attributes, and that's going to happen the same with yours too. Now they're loading. Let's see here. There it is. It did work. Okay, never mind. Weird. Anyway, okay, moving forward. It looks like it might work. Anyway, layout, title block. So in your insert block, grab your title block. It's going to be absolutely ginormous, like I said before. So I'm going to place it just in the bottom left corner. I'm going to line this corner up as much as I can. There we go. I don't want to answer these questions right now, so I'm going to press OK. So I have inserted my title block now, finally. Sorry for the delay on that. We can close insert. Now I'm going to resize it, and we'll resave it. Okay, so in order to edit your title block as a block, you're going to use the command ref edit. So ref edit. You're going to select your block, and you're going to press OK. Make sure you have it selected here as well, and press OK. Now we're in the editing portion. Okay, you'll notice that because your ribbon will change to layout up here, and you'll have editing reference options here in the top right corner. Well, I'm going to start drawing a new rectangle, RECT. Same steps I was trying to do in model space here. I'm going to do this on the left corner this time, though, because that's where I have my paper. And I'm going to draw my new size rectangle. De-enter, and it is 17 on the bottom and 11 on the side. Pick your coordinate, make sure your rectangle sits on top of your piece of paper, and click. And you can see now that that rectangle is the perfect size with my paper. So now I'm just going to use that lovely stretch command and stretch this down to fit in this paper. S, enter, across the entire top, enter. I'm going to grab the outer box and snap that to my outer box. Now the other side, S, enter, I'm going to grab the entire side, enter. I grab the outer box, snap to the outer box, snap. Now I do not want this red outline here because I've sized this already. It was just a guiding line. It was to snap my points to. I can delete it now. Now things are a little bit unproportionate in my title block because again, they were so large before. So this is where I would literally have to go around and clean things up a bit like that. You know, I want to make sure my borders are okay. You know, this is a bit too big in terms of proportion for the title block. I don't have the time here today, this morning, to cover the recording because I know, Keith, you have to go to your morning class. But, you know, in a nutshell, you would then want to use the same stretch commands and move this text around. Now, this would imply me changing the text size. So this is where maybe I now use my text styles that I want, and now I've copied into the file, right? So I can select my text, and I can always put it on a different text style. So if I select this now, I can put it on a more appropriate size text style, let's say. You know, maybe I don't have one right now. Maybe I need to create a new one. That's just what it looks like. So I would put this on a more appropriate size text, and then I would stretch all these boxes down. Yes, it would take time. Absolutely, it takes time. So some people's argument is I could create a new title block quicker. Okay, then create a new title block quicker. Okay. Or maybe it's a matter of just editing information. You know, I have a lot of information up here. Maybe I don't want all this. So I'm just going to delete School of Applied Technology and Architectural Technology, because that's obviously what this title block is from. And I'm now just going to stretch this down. I'm going to use first the stretch command S, enter. Use a green box in between here. And now I can just stretch my points down here. I'm going to turn ortho on to go straight. And I've at least been able to decrease that. Okay. So maybe it's as simply as match properties, and I'm going to grab this text here and match the text here. Awesome. And now I can definitely size that down a little bit, right? And so that allows me to do that. It just, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a process of elimination of sizing things down if you need to, okay, if you need to. So once you edit your title block and you finish editing your title block, you then are going to click the Save Changes button in the top right corner. Now, it's going to ask you, do you want to edit all of the references in your file? And you're going to want to say yes, so it edits the one in your model space. I hope. If not, we'll reinsert it. So we're going to click OK. And it takes the changes. So now let's say I want to fill in my blank boxes now. I double click in the title block. And I can get to my values this way. And now I can answer all those questions when I back up. Because I said I didn't want to answer the questions before. You can always answer the questions after. So now my title block is sized to my paper. Let's go back to model space and see if it changed this one. It did. I have the before and the after, so you'll get that. So now I can select the before, delete it, and now I have my resized title block in model space as well, just like that. And I'm going to save. So I think that wraps up everything, Keith. I think I've gotten everything you may need in your file now, including paper space. Can you think of anything else? Do you have any questions?
No, that's great. So I've just started to copy stuff over from assignments so that I'm ready for final test. So that'll be great.
Wonderful. Awesome. That sounds great. This, yeah, it's going to save you a lot of time, especially for tests and stuff like that. Definitely going to save you time to get your file set up beforehand. That's a great idea.
Super. Thanks so much, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, Keith.
Yeah, I think next week I'm going to come for InDesign.
Okay, awesome.
And just how do you format a picture to a box? I know that,
yeah.
That whole gold box outside it, and then you size to the box. But I just want to make sure because I don't know. Sometimes the image looks like it's distorted, so I just want to go through
right.
that. Okay.
No problem. I have an entire page of shortcuts I can share with you, and I can definitely share with you how to operate those shortcuts in InDesign.
Great. Thanks, Jamie. Have a great day.
You too, Keith. Take care. All right, everybody, I'm going to close up the recording here for the master template. Thank you so much for listening, and that's how you create a master template. Thanks again, Keith. Bye, everybody.